This is the Marketing Umbrella Podcast, where it's all about getting the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. Brought to you by Itamar Shafir, founder and CEO of Umbrella, the technology platform and brand that is powering thousands of marketing agencies around the country. Find him at umbrellaus.com. Now, here's your host, Kevin Pruitt.
Welcome to the Marketing Umbrella Podcast. We have another great episode today. We really try to interview marketing experts to give them a platform to share their expertise and really help agency owners grow and scale their business. Today's guest, for the past 7 years, he's gone from freelance contractor to head of performance at Inspire Agency. He leads a boutique agency working with a handful of selected clients while providing service for paid social. He's a 2-time Geek Out speaker and 1-time Affiliate World Asia speaker. In the past 12 months, he has spent over $30 million on Facebook ads. And today he's going to share some of those tips and strategies and learnings, as well as some additional tips to help agency owners do the same. He's a partner in a few in-house brands, and he's helped scale and exit 2 of those brands previously. Join me in welcoming a great guest to the podcast, and I already apologized on how I'm going to pronounce his name, but Marin Ištvanić. Marin, thanks for joining us on the Marketing Umbrella Podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me. And that was a pretty good pronunciation of my last name, considering you don't have much interactions with our Europeans.
Well, especially, yes, Eastern European for sure. But
yeah, exactly.
And it is so good to have you on the podcast. But I know that, this was primarily talking about your business life, but round it out a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about Marin and where you are.
So I was on my senior year of college studying computer science. And besides that, I was pursuing professional soccer career, playing in second Croatian division. So somehow in the middle of all that, I stumbled upon digital marketing. I started learning everything about it, going through Google support around Google Ads, watching webinars, listening to podcasts, YouTube videos. Luckily, I had one friend that was into Facebook ads, so that was a perfect match. I started helping him, picking the audience, writing the copy, and it was great for him because he had someone who could help him. So that way, I got some experience with the ad platform, and soon started working as a freelancer. Until I joined Inspire, where I'm for the past 6 years. So I advanced from freelancer to head of performance there. I still do media buying for some of the bigger clients, but I'm mostly focused on creating the strategy, maximizing the efficiency of our clients' results.
So I didn't tell you beforehand, but I'm a massive football fan. So
Really?
European football. So we
Nice.
lived in Western Europe for 12 years. So I literally raised my kids there. And my son is a huge soccer player. So and I tell me about that split in the road, that decision that you had to make, because if you're in second division, you've got some talent and you're probably actually making a little money doing this too. Probably not enough to, to make a great living, but you certainly can pay the bills. So what was that decision that said, hey, maybe I'm not going to make it to the English Premiership or the Serie A, but we have to decide.
So basically, yes, I was playing for 20 years. Since I was 6 years old. That was the time when Croatia won third place on the World Cup. That was starting point for me. So I was obsessed with football. I was training every day. I did manage to get to the second division. At that time I was at college. So that was a split between school was always, and the college was always the first thing. But I didn't want to leave football, considering I was playing it for 20 years. But then at some point I realized, okay, I already have 24 years old. I'm in a second division. There's not much possibility that I could ensure my life and all the years. I have maybe 10 years of professional soccer at the top level. I have to be among that 1% that will make a living out of this. So yeah, on my senior year of college, I was good at computer science, but that wasn't super interesting to me. So luckily, yeah, I mean, I consider this a luck that I stumbled upon digital marketing,
Yeah.
and that I kind of like, this is a perfect fit for me, considering I was good with the numbers. I have attention to details. I still play football with kind of friends once a week or twice a week. That's still a passion of mine. I still watch games every weekend. I still watch like World Cup. That's actual now, like every game. But yeah, I mean, it was tough to stop with the football. But yeah, I mean, at the point you realize that you have to be like among 1% of 1% to actually make a living out of that.
Yeah, well, we need to get this interview out of the way so you can watch Croatia play later today, and
Yeah.
Luka Modric and his crew play. But enough that I'm going to stop asking you questions about football because we really want to talk about just the whole marketing space. But so that you pivoted into kind of social media, marketing, and tell us a little bit about how you landed just more focused on Facebook than say other channels.
So, I mean, actually, that was because of that friend that I started working with. He was into Facebook ads. So, like, initially, as I said, I started learning everything about Google ads because the literature was kind of like most available, and it was free around Google ads. But considering he was in a Google space, I just like kind of pivoted and started working with him. Getting familiar with the platform, how things work, how to set up a pixel, how to choose an audience, how to create an ad, and kind of like I kind of like loved it because you had more things that you can let's say impact on. Like you have an image, you have a copy, you have a creative, you have targeting. Like on Google you're kind of really dependent on what people are searching, but on Facebook your options are kind of like much bigger. What could you do, how to manipulate, I would not say manipulate people, but how like what content to show to him at like different stage of the funnel. So that was something that was super interesting to me. So I kind of like learned how to squeeze most out of the Facebook ads at a certain point, depending on what level of funnel the user is actually is.
I'd like to kind of start more macro and then kind of go micro as we progress in our conversation today. But so talk about just Facebook ads in general, just Facebook and maybe just Facebook as the medium in general. So who is demographically, who is on Facebook? What's the biggest like age demographic? What's the biggest gender demographic? Even geographically, where are they? Where do they live in the world?
So, I mean, Facebook is still kind of like the biggest social media, although we have kind of like these like golden child, like TikTok, that is kind of leaning towards the younger audience, Snapchat as well. On Facebook, the users are still kind of like, they're still spending a lot of time there. I would say there's more women than men. And like, obviously, there's a lot of people from all over the world. The user number is increasing year by year. But I would say that the best thing about Facebook is that people that have money, people that will buy something out of your client web shop, they still spend most time on Facebook because there's older demographic. You would hardly see someone like out from 16 years old to buy some skincare product, while you have a women between like, I don't know, 25 and 45, they're spending ton of money on skincare products. So like there's a definitely I would say channel product fit for some of the brands, but I would say the majority of them are kind of like still seeing that Facebook is the best fit for them.
It's interesting because you'll see articles written in blog posts that says Facebook is dead, Facebook is going away, Facebook is fill in the blank of whatever the demise of Facebook that they're predicting. But I mean you actually refute that. You say it's still a growing medium, it's still a but is it can grow in numbers, but is it aging as well at the same time? I mean, is the average age on Facebook getting older and older, or are they still capturing a younger audience?
So to be honest, there's definitely kind of like younger people are more inclined to be using Snapchat and TikTok, because like that attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and those two platforms are kind of like delivering that kind of content, both educational and entertaining. But in terms of like our clients and what they are seeing like getting in return based on their ad spend, like Facebook is still like the most robust. It still has the most data, and it is delivering the best results. To be honest, like after iOS 14.5 update last year, things didn't look good. So basically we lost ability to kind of retarget some of the users if they opted out of tracking. So that was a massive hit, especially for those niche stores that were relying on Facebook algorithm to deliver the results and find a potential prospect. But I would say that Facebook kind of like recovered in the past couple of months, definitely, because we are seeing that they did some work around their platform or around their algorithm. We actually got back the feature to see a breakdown. We got a feature to kind of like compare attribution window to see whether people are buying after the click or after a view of the ad. And Facebook launched couple of months ago, launched a new campaign, Advantage Shopping Plus, that is kind of relying on the AI, which we are all seeing success with this type of campaign. So if you asked me like the same question a year ago, I was just like, okay, this is terrible. Situation is terrible. But now I'm more optimistic than ever. Definitely more optimistic than a year ago.
Right. There's an ad, that old quote that says, necessity is the mother of invention. That when you're presented with a problem, I mean, if you never encounter problems, you may just kind of continue along and keep doing the same things over and over again. But when you encounter that obstacle or that problem, it causes us to kind of stop and reevaluate and come up with more creative solutions on workarounds and how to deal with kind of the new reality. And it sounded like that's kind of what you guys have shifted, based on this iOS update that really just kind of guarded privacy a little more. But what are some specific, strategies? You kind of mentioned them in general. What are some specific strategies as a result of this update that, marketing agencies would need to be aware of that you think would be really helpful in this social media space?
So I would say that like after iOS update, kind of like a lot of the people that are not great marketers kind of like are struggling. So previously it was easy. You just kind of like select an image, you kind of like let Facebook algorithm do its thing, and you expect it to convert, and it was working. But now after iOS update, kind of like you need to be good at marketing. It's not enough just to have like a fancy store and a simple image. So I would say that's kind of like what changed in this like whole situation. Definitely some of the strategies are not successful as before, kind of, let's say, lookalike audiences, because Facebook is having less data, so it's affecting the performance of lookalike audiences. Retargeting is kind of like a bit kind of like, I would not say that it's not performing, but it's struggling. It's harder to get it to perform. There are a couple of strategies that we are using to kind of like ensure they're kind of like bulletproof since the iOS.
Right.
And also I would say kind of like keeping on top of the like those new things like Advantage Shopping Plus, which is getting the results, and trying some of the stuff that other people are seeing success, as you said, like coming up with some of the new ideas, new tactics. That is kind of like still important.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it's like any other, I think any other medium, any other social medium, that it is a constantly changing landscape, and it changes
definitely.
rapidly. And I mean, I think back 10 years ago, or where the Google updates, the Panda and the different updates that really caused a huge hit, on marketing. But it always seems like good. Like, I love what you said. You said good. It kind of eliminated the bad marketers, and the good marketers are still standing. After this, because they're the ones that are most creative. But if I'm just kind of a little side note here, as I was thinking as you were talking about, like if we're really thinking about, me as an agency owner, Is it, in your opinion, is it better to have someone on staff, hired employee, dedicated employee that is focusing, individually, like you have a Facebook specialist, or you have a TikTok specialist, you have a, Google ad spend specialist or whatever? Or do you think it is better to outsource this to, say a service that, could do this for me and maybe could be a little more adaptable, than just having an on-staff employee?
So I would say that kind of like it would be a better question for a brand or e-com brand to kind of like kind of try to distinguish whether he needs an in-house person or whether he needs an outsource. But in terms of the agency, the most successful agencies are the ones that are kind of like specialized in a certain area.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, myself, I'm a kind of like T-shaped marketer. So I know a bit about Google Ads. I know a bit about like SEO, about email to cover the basics. But in what I'm specialized is Facebook ads. So kind of like all of my community, all of my kind of like Twitter connections, Slack groups, and like a conference that I'm attending, those are all focused to Facebook. So kind of like I'm an expert in Facebook ads. I learn stuff about Facebook ads to stay on top of like everything, on top of like SEO, Google ads, email, like that would be impossible. So I think like when you have a person that's kind of like specialized in one thing, you could achieve the best results.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I'm curious, if you had to start over again tomorrow, and you had all of the social channels available to you, which one do you think you would focus on, knowing what you do about the broad kind of space, the broad social space? Which one would you focus on right now?
So I would definitely,
That's
I
not a
think that
trap
I would,
question.
yeah, I think that I would still choose Facebook just because of the fact it is most robust, it is most stable, it is generating the best results in terms of the prospecting. Obviously, kind of like Facebook is generating the demand and Google is capturing the demand. So I could be great in Google, but if there's no demand about the product, I cannot achieve great results. Definitely, like when I understand Facebook, I kind of like was easier to adapt to Pinterest, to Snapchat, to TikTok. I run ads like on all four platforms. So when kind of they're all copying the Facebook. If you check like TikTok ads manager, it's like exactly the same as Facebook, but not as advanced. So basically they're trying to make their platform ads manager similar to Facebook. Obviously with the TikTok, there's the biggest opportunity both on an organic side and on the paid side. But people are saying that like you need a lot more investment in terms of creatives, because like TikTok is only video platform to kind of like, so to create an ad that is video, it requires a lot more effort compared to just an image ad. On Facebook, you can get an image ad to work. On TikTok, no. So like even when you create like that creative doesn't last long enough, it kind of like gets to the state of frequency very soon. So then you need to kind of like repeat. So it is like scalable, but I would not say that it's scalable to the extent that Facebook is. Also, as I said, on TikTok, attention span is shorter, and like usually what we find out there, the products that work best are between, I don't know, 20 and 60 dollar price point AOV, while on Facebook we could spend like a product that is above 200. So yeah, like the buying power, the audience, and the attention span, and the ability to create new videos, that's kind of like all leaning to Facebook sides. That's why I choose Facebook.
Yeah, I love how much ground you covered in a very short time there. Actually, you answered the question I was just about to ask you. It was kind of refining down like market and specification, stuff like that. But I am curious, and I was watching another video that you had done where you were talking about the difference between like product fit versus positioning, and the idea that are you more concerned when you're looking at ads, are you more concerned that the product fits the market? Or are you more concerned that you're positioning the product to the right market? I know
So
both
that's
of those are
great.
essential, but I'm just
Yeah,
curious,
yeah.
which one would you put more weight on?
I mean, that's really great question, because like we, besides the agency, we have like two internal brands. One of those is like in a skincare niche,
Mm-hmm.
and we have product that is over $300 dollar AOV.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we started with the Facebook, but like we were struggling because like there were not so much people that are inclined to buy on a first interaction when they click an ad for that highest price point. So we still did see some success, but not to extent with kind of like some of the other internal brands and for some of the clients. So we kind of like lean more to the influencers, and kind of like that was a perfect opportunity. And we are seeing the best results from there because we are collaborating with the YouTube influencers. So basically we send them a product. They kind of like do a long educational video of 10 minutes. So they're explaining the product, how it works, what are the benefits, how to best use it. And so basically you get 10-minute, I don't know, between 5 and 10 minute educational piece about your product. And when we can actually see like when some of the influencers like that posted on YouTube, we are getting like a lot of sales. So in this case, when we kind of like, it's hard to educate someone about that product on Facebook ad, we are seeing much more success with the YouTube. We tried TikTok, but like in 30 seconds, it's hard to compare to explain that product compared to YouTube. So in this case, we are seeing more success with YouTube influencers, and then with Google capturing that demand. So although I'm an expert on Facebook ads, I'm not like afraid to say that like Google is outspending me for this brand, because it is just capturing that demand that is existent.
If I'm trying to put my agency owner hat on, the things that you're talking about right there. I mean, what that's going to cause me to do is really look at my product right now, or service that I'm offering. And you just kind of broadened my perspective as I'm thinking it's just not, I just don't care about if this is a fit necessarily with my market or not, but it really does matter, where in the funnel,
it definitely matters.
that you're aiming,
Yeah, exactly.
That type of thing. So, tell me, as you've looked at other agencies and even run your own, but tell me, like, what do you think are one or two major mistakes that agency owners like continually, you see it over and over again, specifically with Facebook marketing?
So I would say they're relying too much on the kind of like setup of the campaign, how to kind of like, what's the appropriate setup, how to do this, how to do this. I mean, what has the highest impact on the results is creative. So how, like what your messaging is. We say that like nowadays, like it's not important what interest you put on the like ad set level targeting, like your creative is targeting. So basically you need to create like multiple angles, and then Facebook will do its targeting. We do most of our campaigns are running on broad audience. So basically no interest targeting, no lookalikes. We just exclude the buyers, but we know that we are targeting with our creatives. So basically, if I have a creative that's talking about how this product can kind of like save you time, and I have like the same video, like similar video that is talking how this product can save you money, we can see kind of like Facebook would choose the people that are kind of like more inclined to buy because they are saving money or because they are saving time. And then basically we can see what's getting the best results. We iterate on that. Yep. So basically there's no need to kind of like overcomplicate your ad setup. It is just what your messaging is trying to communicate, how it is communicating the offer.
So is it some kind of a minor form of A/B testing that you're doing as far as kind of early on, where you may have parallel strategies running? You're thinking, okay, one's really going to do better than the other one, so we're just going to really double down and scale the one that's working.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, like you need to be a good marketer to have success. So basically the first step is to do a proper research to find out what is kind of actually causing a problem with your audience, how your product can solve it. And then you're trying to tackle that from a different angle. So like, okay, whether it will save a money, whether it will save a time, what would be the end goal? How can you kind of like present transformation? So you came up with all of these angles based on a different level of awareness. Because if you do not know that you have a problem, me talking about my product benefits would not kind of like result in any success. But if I know that you have a problem and then I offer a solution, then it kind of like resonates with you. So definitely we are trying to kind of like figure out at what stage of awareness people are and communicate them with a message that will kind of respond to them. That's kind of like a basic of marketing, what Eugene Schwartz is mentioning in Breakthrough Advertising book.
Right. Yeah. I knew that, asking you that question, I know that just the experience, because you're so specialized in that field, in that particular channel, that it would be helpful to our audience. But one other question that I want to kind of touch on, and that I think I also heard you talking about in another forum, but was the difference between and I just want you to really focus on this and just keep it kind of lean and mean, on the response here. But just looking at the difference between leading somebody to a landing page versus leading them to a product or service page. And you really, you had talked about, it seems obvious, but the things that I remember you talking about were so unique that I don't think the average person would think about that. So just touch on the differences of those and maybe the different situations that would come into play.
So, I mean, initially we start with kind of like leading people to product page, because most clients are leading people to product page. So we kind of like, okay, that's the obvious step. People are kind of most familiar with the Shopify setup. They know like product image is on the left, there are bullet points on the right, there are benefits. So people are kind of like familiar with that. But at a certain point, you kind of like hit the wall, because you cannot scale your brand and your kind of like offer, because you are kind of like talking about everything, but actually not saying anything. So when you kind of enter different levels of awareness, you want to create a different angle, different pages that are talking about the angle. So basically, for some clients, we will create like 7 reasons, like listicle type. Okay, 7 reasons why this product is the best. So we'll kind of like tackle down different benefits. For some clients, when we kind of like what I mentioned with the angle, when we find some creative is working the best, okay, we notice, okay, saving time is kind of like the biggest pain point and like solution we can give to the people with this product. We create a whole new page that is talking only about a specific problem. So you're not talking about like all of the features, all of the benefits of our product. You're focusing on that one client, that one prospect in mind, and his problems, and how are you going to solve this problem. Basically, then you are unlocking larger, I would say, pocket of audience, because if your results on the ad level said that this is the angle that is most promising, it is getting the most spent. So, okay, Facebook is assuming that most people would resonate with this. We create a specific funnel that is kind of like targeting only that angle. Obviously, we'll try more, but this is kind of like a one-on-one marketing. When you kind of find out the angle that is working, you want to kind of like align everything. You want to have your copy, you want to have your video, you want to have your landing page talking about that problem, right, and how are you solving that.
So this is what I wrote down when you said that. I said landing page or product page for sale, landing page for scale.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the way you described that. But I think it also improves just the customer journey too.
Definitely.
The client journey that we're trying to take them on, and I think it's not just a transactional thing. It actually develops the relationship, between the company and the client. But this I feel like I'm kind of jumping around from point to point here. But one other thing that I wanted to touch on that I remember you mentioning was just if you want to learn more about Facebook and how to really use that proficiently, they do have built-in learnings. I think you mentioned it's called Blueprint or something like that as a resource guide. Talk about that just for a minute.
Yeah, so like Facebook, like similar to Google, what they have, Facebook has its own kind of like, I would say, library of courses, all the way from kind of like creating organic posts, creating a campaign, how to kind of like squeeze most out of it, what are some different campaign objectives, how to set it up properly. So like that's very well kind of like explained there, that can help anyone actually to launch their own campaign. Obviously, if you want kind of like some of the nuances, what are kind of like tips and tricks, then like that would not be enough. But there are kind of like plenty of YouTube videos. Twitter community about Facebook ads is pretty powerful and strong, that people are sharing their wins, what's working for them. So like that's kind of like another level of education.
Well, I appreciate you talking about that, because I think any resources that we can put in the hands of, of our listeners is helpful for sure. But right now, I want to transition to, a fun part of every episode that we have on the Marketing Umbrella podcast. That's really our rapid fire questions. And you're gonna hear these questions. You're gonna think, what in the world? Why are you asking these questions? But there is a method to our madness, and it really is. I mean, there's even science behind, I think, some of these answers. But I'm gonna ask you a question, and you just answer just as quickly as you can. Really succinctly. So, did you get along with your parents growing up?
Mostly yes.
Mostly, yes. I think that's everybody's. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Did you have siblings?
Yeah, one brother.
One brother.
Young.
Did you have a pet?
Yes, 2 dogs.
2 dogs growing up. Currently, do you have children?
No.
No kids?
Too young for that. No.
What time do you wake up in the morning on average?
6:30.
And what time do you go to bed normally?
10 p.m., 11 p.m., something around that.
Yeah, good night's rest.
Yeah.
So if where's your ideal vacation spot in the world, money not being an object?
I would say Southeast Asia, Thailand, Indonesia, Bali, something like that.
Beautiful, beautiful place. How does faith affect how you live?
Faith in terms of like kind of the religious kind of aspect, not so much, but faith in terms of kind of like believing in myself, that kind of like has a much more impact in me.
One thing, if you could, that you would change about the business climate today?
Probably those like fake gurus flexing with their results and like taking picture in supercar, stuff like that. I hate to see that.
There is a long line there that would like to join you in eliminating the posers, I think that's what you would call. So anything that you want to close us with, Marin, that I haven't touched on that you think would be really helpful just to speak directly to marketing agency owners?
So speaking to marketing agency owners, I think like it's important to find what you're good at, what you're comfortable doing, because if you enjoy what you're doing, you would not look at any day as a working day. It would be a pleasure. And obviously, when you start delivering results, you just need to decide whether you want to keep it as a boutique agency, so you have more time as a smaller team, or you want to scale it and have like robust team, a lot of the people. Obviously, both has kind of like pros and cons, but that's up to you to decide what you want.
Marin, I really appreciate you taking time today and just closing us out well today. And I do want to mention that Marin has a free offer of auditing your Facebook ad account, and the link will be in the show notes that you can click that link. But once again, thanks for joining us on another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella podcast, where we chat with marketing experts providing insights to help agency owners grow and scale their business. Please connect with our founder, Itamar Shafir, at umbrellaus.com. Marin, thanks again, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great weekend yourself.
Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Marketing Umbrella podcast, where we provide the information you need from successful leading marketers to build and grow your digital marketing agency. To learn more, go to umbrellaus.com.